Welcome to the garden. And this week, you can probably tell by the happy tone in my voice, we finally had some sunshine in Ireland. I decided it was about time to tackle all of the pots. Yes, if you saw last week's video, I went to the garden centre and my rule for this year is I'm not allowed to go back to the garden centre until everything I bought is planted. So that is what we're going to do. If you stick with me throughout this video, I have some awful neglected pots full of weeds, full of self-seeded trees. My God, they are awful. Some of them I didn't even touch last year. They kind of, I don't know, if something gets a bit messy, you become a bit blind to it and you don't notice it. And then one day you're like, oh my God, the absolute state of these pots. Today we're going to create a lovely cottage garden perennial pot display out the front and make it pretty once and for all. Last year I bought whiskey barrels from a salvage yard. I think I have an old vlog on that where I visited the salvage yard out in Kilkenny. These make for amazing planters. I had to drill holes in the base and I planted them up last year, but this year they are just not fresh. They need to be freshened up. Because there's loads of space in these, I'm going to pack them with perennials. The first thing I need to do is, there is a beautiful wallflower in here and it started flowering around about March time and it was beautiful. It has gone quite woody, so I'm going to cut it back. I haven't deadheaded it. Wallflowers are great. If you deadhead them, they will keep on flowering. So they kind of look a bit tired for about a week, 2 weeks, and then you get another flush. I'm not sure how long they last. This is one from last year. I think they only last a couple of years, but you can probably take cuttings from them. When I'm planting up a large container, I swear by Bacopa. I love Bacopa because it spills over the edge. It is, I'm going to say almost evergreen until it dies off. I had a beautiful one in this pot last year, but I think they might be an annual. Well, they were an annual in my garden last year, but they are great for spilling. They're great for hanging baskets, great for spilling over the edge. So I have smaller ones. So I'm packing 3 of them to the front and you'll see me pop them in some other pots. I'm a bit disappointed in the soil that I put in these planters from last year. I put in a peat-free compost mix and it is very dry. So as I am planting up the containers, I'm adding in a different bag. Now it is peat-free, but it smelled very farmyardy. So I don't know if they had mixed in farmyard manure. It was just like a potting mix, but it was peat-free. It was like an organic Westland mix, I think. So I am mixing that in, and I also just mixed in some vermiculite as well. So if you need a pot to have drainage, you can put perlite in. And then if you need help retaining the moisture, you can add vermiculite. So that is what I've mixed into the soil. And as I'm planting, you'll see that I put some new soil on top and I also put some good old bark mulch on top because I have a big bag of it that I'm still trying to get rid of. But it's great for stopping the airborne weeds. So if any dandelion seeds are flying around, or yeah, it's really good at stopping and preventing the weeds at the top of the pots. In the barrels, I am also adding in plants for a bit of height. So I've popped in 2 salvias. Now, there was a dahlia that was coming back from last year, but I decided to take it out and I popped that into its own separate pot because I wanted to have a bit of instant gratification with the barrel. I didn't want to wait for the dahlia to grow, so I gave it its own pot and that can be moved around. I popped in 2 salvias in 2 different colours to add a bit of height in one of the barrels, and then I popped in an Alchemilla mollis or Alchemilla morris. It's either one of those words. And this is another beautiful filler slash spiller plant, but it also gives a nice bit of height. You might see this plant on the edge of borders. It's great for spilling over the edge, and there's a lovely flower on it as well. And I think it might be semi-evergreen. Like, I think once the flowers go, it keeps its foliage, kind of like a geum. So I thought that they would add a nice bit of instant flower to the pots, but also give me that lovely fullness. So when some flowers stop flowering, I have lovely foliage in the pots. I'm now going to layer onto this display and the orange pot that you can see there that has a rose in it. I'm not in love with those orange pots. I think they need to be whitewashed, or they did. The plastic ones don't age the way the terracotta ones do. But as you'll see in the end, you won't see these. And I'm also using some chairs. They're actually IKEA bistro chairs from the back. I'm using them as my staging setup to put pots on top of them to give me a bit of height. The reason why I want to add a bit of height is because when you look out that window, I want to see the tips of the flowers. So when you look out the window, you get like, I don't know, you get to appreciate the flowers and you're not seeing grass and road. So the rest of this planting is basically everything I bought in the garden centre that doesn't fit in the border and needs a bit of a sunny spot. They're all now going into pots. So everything that I caught my eye, so like if you go into a sweet shop and you're like, I want this, 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 and this, that's what I did in the garden centre. Obviously within reason, because I can't spend all my money on plants. I do have a mortgage to pay. But I did spend, I think, €100 in the garden centre. I know, shocking. I am going to try and get good at taking cuttings, because I think I get over excited in the garden centre and then these things happen. So I'm potting everything up and then I will water it in well. And just a little tip, when it comes to making your pots nice and healthy and last longer, they obviously don't have the same energy and worms and everything as your borders. So I find by feeding them once a week with a liquid feed, and I won't lie to you, sometimes it's not once a week, could be once a fortnight, but definitely putting a feed into the pots keeps those plants healthy. So healthy soil, happy plant. And then you can check in on your pots the following year and you can top up the soil. You can see if the plant needs to be potted on. So sometimes with perennials, they may need a bigger pot. Or what you can do is you can take them out of the pot and you can fluff away all of the old compost from the roots, put in new compost, and this can be your own compost from your garden or whatever, and you can give it some fresh nutrients for it to have another good year. But yes, your pots, if you find that things don't last as long or they're not as healthy, then start feeding the soil and see how it is after a month. Hopefully you do see a difference. Okay, so I had come out this morning thinking I'll get lovely finishing shots of the pots and how they're looking, and it has been raining and the weather forecast was to be like, hey, it's summer. So this is how they're looking. I gave them a lovely drink last night with the hose, but then there was some more rain this morning. I'm happy with how this is looking. It's definitely quite a display. It's giving, I want it to look like it could be in a florist. So yeah, I think when that erysimum comes back to life, once it has, like, I've deadheaded it, so it'll have another flush, I think there will be lots of colour. I want to show you the messy spots, but managed to get that bag of mulch off the pallet that was there, because that has been annoying me. So I'd say there's about 2 or 3, maybe 2 wheelbarrows worth of mulch left in the bag, and I will show you the corner that I need to clean, and hopefully I'll use up the last of it on that, and then there won't be any bags of stuff in the driveway. This isn't looking too bad, but there is, you can probably see yellow daffodil foliage that I need to tidy up, and I have not cut the grass here in a while. So this is a messy corner that I need to tackle. The 2 boxes are full of herbs and they're quite full. There is, let me zoom in, a random display thing that I used for the telly last year. It's like a mini raised bed. There's just weeds in it. As you can see, the grass hasn't been touched. The meadow has grown a bit, the little wild meadow, and there's a dead rose in a pot. That's my own fault. I took too long potting it up. It was a bare root rose, and I got 4 David Austin bare roots, and I left this one too long before putting it in a pot. But the other 3 are over here, and one of them has started to flower. So this one has started to flower. Let me try find the name. I'm trying to keep the camera as steady as possible. I might get a torn here. Princess Anne, and it smells amazing. And when the other ones, also the reason why I have the roses up so high is because when you look out this window, you see the tops of the plants. So yeah, there was some slugs, and the Senecio, angel's wings, this is called, I think I'm saying it wrong. You can probably see they were actually not slugs, they were snails. I noticed a lot of snails in the front garden when I was working away yesterday, so I put them into the little meadow area, and some of them I threw over the wall because I don't mind them. Why don't they just munch on the ivy and the climbing plants? The roses are, do you know what? I am surprised there's not more black spot on them with all of the kind of moisture we've had. I generally just remove the leaves. I don't treat it, so I remove all of the leaves that have any black spot. Make sure they don't fall on the ground and affect any other plants. But yeah, considering all the rain, they're doing quite well. And the one in here as well, this one's beautiful, but you know what, it's getting lost behind these huge teasels. That was a mistake on my behalf. But Hydrangea Annabelle, she is looking well. She gave me awful trouble in her first year, but she's looking well now. And then yeah, there's a couple of plants in here that are just getting lost, so I need to tie these teasels back, and then yeah, decide what I'm gonna do with them. Like, look at this one here, they're all over the place. So this is the next thing I need to tackle. I need to harvest them 2 bags of potatoes. Foliage is dying over on them. They will be ready soon. Get them out of the way. I need to get rid of this. I then need to go in and tidy. This is daffodil bulbs, poppy foliage. These teasels need to be pulled out. And this whole area from like here down needs to be more shady, so you can see the trees have grown like proper over. So I need to add, I'm thinking height here, shady plant, maybe a little acer, bit of height there, and then all of this just needs to be cleaned. All of this bulb foliage can be pulled now. Those teasels can come out. You can see the snail. The snails seem to like this area here. So yeah, this section down here needs a job on it, but the heucheras, there's already some shade plants in here. So there is heucheras, bleeding heart and something else. So it just needs to be, there's a couple of plants my neighbour gave me that are never going to flower here. There's two canophias, yeah, red hot pokers. They're never going to flower here because they need sunshine. They're not getting it here, so they can be pulled out. There's also some achillea. I'm going to pull that out. So this needs a good job done on it. I'm going to keep all of the heucheras and then just add some height. I also have the pots of doom. These just have self-seeding trees. So all of these pots need to be changed to pots for shade. So I have two brunneries, so I'm going to change up to the pots and just clean out. I've just been neglecting this area because I've been kind of working on the front, but this whole section needs to be redone, tidied up, be quite satisfying. And then the laneway as well, you can see I've got like a fire pit, half a gutter, a plastic bucket of plants. So yeah, this needs to be tidy. And then in the back, everything's looking a little bit flat because of the rain, but the pots in front of the greenhouse as well. So there's two pots that are wildflowers, but again, bulb foliage, I just feel so behind. Bulb foliage, all of the pots here need to be just organised, redone. There's a lot of dahlias about to flower, and I need to do something with my apple tree because the leaves are going yellow, so I'm off to Google that. So yeah, there's not much perfection going on here. I just thought I'd share the jobs that I need to get done. So Mr. Bon, who's chewing on the window, I wanted to just show you as well why I put those plants up quite high. So when I look out this window now, oh Bon, why have you, hang on. So the view from this window, I need to make sure my camera does not zoom on the glass. Oh, it is. Hang on. Hang on. When I look out the window now, this used to just be like grass. There was hardly any planting. And it looks like I can see a little garden in the front. So like a little secret garden. So like this isn't my bedroom. It's a guest bedroom. But it's nice when you're walking past and the door's open and you just look out the window and you see some plants. And I think Bon likes it too, because the odd little bird or like sometimes any insects come to the window, he is having a little look. But I think when these roses, oh sorry about the zoom, I think when these roses start to blossom, it will be such a nice view from this window. So I think Ireland is one of those countries, instead of a bikini for summer, you'll need a floral raincoat for summer. So I feel like the front is starting kind of to come together. I might tackle the little herb corner. So that sits in front of my living room. And there is some Immortelle, I think it's called, herb family in that box that's after growing really tall. Bjug is about to jump, but here, Bjug, do you want to come with me? Yeah, the Immortelle flowers are poking up from the pot and it looks lovely when you look out the window. And obviously I have the new raised bed, so for anybody who's new, my front garden was just a square patch. I got some raised beds back in April, only started planting them up the end of May. And I'm feeling quite late to the party this year with gardening, and there's just, I feel like I have so many little nooks that I've let go kind of. I feel like there's loads of nooks in the garden that I've just let go like a bit wild, which I suppose happens. It was chillier than usual. I didn't have the same get up and go back in April that I normally do. I think it was possibly the weather. I overheard a lady when I was at Bloom saying to her friend, I haven't done any of me hanging baskets this year. And I looked at her and I said, same. So I don't know if it's maybe sentiment, I don't know, maybe if you're feeling the same. Something that I think I might do with the area at the, Bjug is my cameraman. That was Bjug moving the camera lady. I think I might, when I am redoing and doing up some pots for in front of the greenhouse, because we are pretty much coming into July now, I think I'm going to go for plants that will be flowering August, September, October. So the likes of your rudbeckias, your sneezeweed, all that kind of colour, your dahlias. I have some zinnias as well, still in seed. I did put some in the bed last week. So I think I might do that area so that I get to I don't know, see it a lot more coming into the autumn time. It's just the pots that I've let go to absolute, excuse my language, shite. My car was in getting fixed yesterday. I didn't think I'd have it today. I want to go back to the garden centre to have a look. I need to plan what I want to do with that little shady side border. Definitely I think the pots that are at the front door need to be refreshed, and I need to tidy the bed of all of that kind of foliage, take out those plants that aren't working, and I think I need some, I think I need something evergreen in there as well with height for the wall. Yeah, they're all my messy corners in the garden. They're all my jobs that I need to tackle over the next few weeks. But I'm trying to just, I don't know, enjoy just being out in the garden and not see it as, oh my god, the state of them pots. I feel really satisfied when I have like an area that has been refreshed. So like when I drove in the driveway today and I saw that the pots were nice and tidy and in order, that like it just made my heart sing. I was like, okay, that at least that little section is tidy. And I think if you're overwhelmed with the garden, just, I suppose like your house, you would take it room by room or corner by corner. Do the same in the garden, take it zone by zone, section by section, and it'll be winter by the time I have all of the jobs I want to do done, but it is what it is. I don't think gardens are ever done, are they? That's all my chatting for today and for this video. I'll see you in the next one, and then you can have the chats in the comment section. Let me know, I would love to know, are you killing it this year in the garden? Are you like the opposite? I want some optimism. Are you like, no, I'm having the best garden year of my life? I feel like I'm not this year, but I feel like I'm loving all of the things that have grown, if that makes sense. I feel like my garden is thriving without me having to do jobs all the time, if that makes sense. Anyway, enough waffling. See you in the next one.